Did SpaceX Starlink stop throttling? Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much once again joining me for tea time. Today we have a little bit of fireside. You know, I love fireside, that smokiness of the lap sun. Guys, hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, maybe a cup of coffee, hanging out, talking tech, talking photo, talking video. Today is a tech day. We're going to be talking a little bit about Starlink. I got a bunch of questions in my email as well as DMs regarding speeds and how people are starting to see speeds increase. And I'm like, well, they are. I have always done tests daily on Starlink. I do this so that I can keep in the know on what's going on. And if I feel something that just doesn't make sense, and it's not an outlier, it's actually something that is happening consecutively all the time, I'm going to report it to you. And that is what I'm doing today. Speeds are increasing. Did SpaceX Starlink get rid of throttling? Yes or no? We're going to answer that question today. I did a bunch of tests and I want you to do the same. Before the end of this video, I'm going to give you my results, but then I want yours. Now, before I get into this, I want to say that if you haven't downloaded any of my ebooks as of yet, go check them out. They're 100% free. Go over to JCristina.com/books. Once again, JCristina.com/books. Also, if you get anything out of this video, throw it a thumbs up. That'd be very helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you have not. And then click this little button over here and then click all. So when I go live or when a new video comes out, you will be notified of it immediately. Also, if you just want to say thank you for all of my hard work, there is a little thank you button down there. You can click that. If not, that's fine too. Consider becoming a member of the channel. That would be even better. And finally, when you're done watching this video and you want more Starlink coverage, helpful how-tos, tips, tricks, what to buy, what not to buy, what to do, what not to do, and of course, the why. This channel is all about the why. I put together a Starlink playlist for you. Check it out. There's about 130 videos over there now. I can't even believe it. It's a lot of damn videos. Go check it out. There's a lot of great information in there when you're done watching this video. The Starlink playlist, I will link it right here, but you can find it over on my page if you just go to youtube.com/JCristina. So let's get right into this. As of yesterday, SpaceX launched another 56 satellites into orbit. Were those version 2 minis? The answer is absolutely not. Why? As I said in my last video, they cannot launch 56 satellites in that cone section, in the payload section on the top of a Falcon 9. It's not possible. That being said, we know that they are the Starlink version 1.5s, which still isn't bad. There's 56 this week. There was 56 last week. There is a ton. I think it was over 500 now launched into orbit in the last few months. Just this year alone, we're at the end of March, just getting into April. That is amazing. In just 3 months, we're looking at about 500 SpaceX Starlink satellites, and those were the version 1.5s. Now, if you remember my last video, I was talking about how Elon or someone internal to SpaceX said that they were going to launch another batch of the version 2.0 minis, and that was going to happen before the end of the month. It didn't happen. And I was speculating that if they did launch those, there would be less problems than what we would think that there would be with the original batch. Now, the original batch, if you didn't know, there was 21 that were launched into orbit. And Elon did say in a tweet, hey, they're having problems. We don't know exactly what it is, or I'm not going to tell you what it is, but they are having problems, and some of them will deorbit. They will burn up in the atmosphere, while the rest of them will stay up for testing. Keep that in mind. Testing. Seeing that SpaceX was not able to launch another batch of version 2.0 minis into orbit before the end of the month, I would have to speculate that there was either one, a software problem, or number two, there was some type of propulsion system problem that is not able to get them from a lower orbit into the correct operational orbit. When they first launched them up, they're at about 200-300 kilometers up into space, or away from the ground, let's call it. And they slowly move into their operational orbit, which would be about 550 kilometers off the ground, 550 kilometers into space, and in their specific rotational trajectory, their specific pattern. pattern where they're going to be rotating around the Earth. Now, once again, 550 kilometers. For them to get from that 350, let's call it, kilometers up to 550, they use that propulsion system. So, is it software? Is it that system that they have on board, their new propulsion system that is on board their version 2.0 minis? I don't know. But there's obviously some type of problem. If not, SpaceX would have launched another batch of the version 2 minis. Now, I got a lot of questions from you guys asking me, is the speed increases due to those version 2.0 minis that are in orbit? And as you can see, the answer is a resounding no, because they're not operational. The ones that do not fall back to Earth or burn up in our atmosphere, the remaining ones will be there for test purposes, according to Elon Musk. So, yes, they will increase speeds eventually, but that is not what's going on here. I think that there's two things that are going on here. Number one is that we just simply have more units. We have more satellites in low Earth orbit, or in LEO. Right? We have an extra 500 just in the last 3 months. SpaceX is getting close to 4,000 satellites in orbit. That is a lot. And as those numbers grow, our speeds and reliability will get better. The second reason, I think, is that the version 1.5s, just like the version 2.0 minis and the version 2.0s, do have ISL on them. Now that stands for Inner Satellite Laser or Inner Satellite Link. All right, let's call it Inner Satellite Link. What they are is lasers that communicate from satellite to satellite between each other at the speed of light. Basically at the speed of a laser in a vacuum. And that's damn fast, all right? So this is also increasing speeds. At the beginning, we only had the version 1.0s, and they did not have that communication between each other. So why does this ISL increase speed? Well, just think of it this way. If you need to communicate from location to location on the ground, instead of having to jump from your dish up to a satellite, back to a ground station, over to a POP, back to the ground station, back up, and do all of this process, it could now actually bounce that up to a satellite, and then from that satellite, bounce it all the way back to where your POP is located. Right? So this over time will remove a lot of the need for ground stations near you. Why is that? Because they will bounce the data from satellite to satellite to satellite and then bang that data back down to the ground or a ground station near the POP. This will lower latency. This will be awesome. All right. So we are seeing this already, in my personal opinion. Do I work for SpaceX? No. Am I an engineer? No. This is just common sense to me that is what's going on. They are lowering latency by taking some of those ground stations out of the loop and being able to manipulate or move or transmit data at the speed of light. Once again, a laser beam of data in a vacuum, extremely fast, from satellite to satellite to satellite, and then finally to the ground station. Once again, taking out that ground or terrestrial movement. A lot of that terrestrial movement is what causes a lot of the latency. People don't know it, but you're communicating with LEO or those satellites. That communication is about 8 milliseconds. If I'm not wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know down below. But I believe it's around 8 milliseconds. So all the milliseconds after that is happening terrestrial, not non-terrestrial, not extraterrestrial, in the air, okay? It is quick to communicate in LEO, right? 550 kilometers. It is quick. But the movement on the ground through these networks is what slows things down. So while we see these speeds or these latencies of like, say, 30 milliseconds, 40 milliseconds, some of you guys are getting 50 milliseconds. I personally was getting latency of 18 milliseconds for a while when SpaceX moved my POP from Atlanta, Georgia, which is like 500-600 miles away, down to Miami, which is only like 60 miles away. 18 milliseconds, guys, peaking at like 20 milliseconds. That is phenomenal. That's like fiber speed. Obviously, fiber, you can get to 1 millisecond, 5, 10 millisecond, but 20 milliseconds is amazing. That is incredible. That's as fast as a DSL line or as a UVerse line. And some of the Comcast lines are seeing latency of 20 to 30 milliseconds. So it is really quite good. And I think that once again, it is going to get better. Now, like I said before, I'm doing speed tests all the time. I'm also checking for latency all the time. I'm also checking for drop packets. How much of a loss do we have? Anytime that there's a blip where there's no coverage at all, I notate everything. That's just what I do. And then I'm reporting back to you. Not when there is, once again, like these anomalies, these things that just happen where you're like, oh my God, that was really fast, just one test. I don't do that. I'll do 10 tests, 20 tests in a row and get rid of the outliers, the fastest and the slowest, and then average the rest together to come up with a speed. And I encourage you guys to do the same. So what did I come up with here? Well, after doing all the testing, I found that download speed as well as upload speeds are faster, but download speeds are extremely fast, much faster than what they used to be, literally as fast as they were all the way back to the beginning, way faster than what they've been for the last couple of months. Now, what does this mean? Does this mean that SpaceX has stopped throttling? Yes, I do believe so. Now, I know that's a big statement. Now, once again, I don't work for SpaceX. I can only watch the data as it comes through. When I do tests, I see these things daily. I know what they look like, and I've been doing these tests for a year and a half. Right? What I've seen on the download speeds. Now, remember, I have priority access or priority service because it is considered residential. Keep that in mind. This is not best effort, what I'm talking about here. This is priority. Now, I've been doing tests during peak time as well as off peak time. Peak time is basically 7 a.m. till 11 p.m. Off peak is 11 p.m. till 7 a.m. So I've done it during both times. And once again, I've been getting amazing speeds. Now, the reason I speculate that throttling has been removed on the download side is because when I do the tests, they actually go up in speed over time in comparison to banging off 100, 120, 150 megabits per second, and then slowly coming back down to 190, 110, 105. That is classic throttling. When you see it just go bang all the way up to, let's say, 150, 200, who knows, and then slowly inch back down. That is classic throttling for the most part. Now, what I've been seeing lately is the speeds are actually increasing. So it might pop up to 100 megabits per second and then go 120, 150, 180, 200, 220, 250. I even had one, which I feel was an outlier, all the way up to 310 megabits down. Just today. What the hell is that? I have not seen that speed since the very first shot that I did on my phone way back when I just came out of beta. Okay? Like a year and a half ago. I have not seen those speeds. I continued doing testing for about 30, 40 minutes today, and I got always the exact same results. The speeds, the download speeds would go from that slow, like 100, 120, then 150, then 180, 200. They were a lot. I mean, a lot of them were over 200 megabits down. Once again, I have not seen that for months, guys. My speed has been from 90 to about 140, 130 megabits down for months and months and months and months. It would literally like cap at that 100. Sometimes I would see it at 105. It would bang up to 140 and then back to 105, 100, 99, 110, right around there. That is it. Never 200. And God, definitely not 310 or whatever it was. That is nuts. Now, do I get the exact same results with upload? The answer is no. Once again, resounding no. Are the speeds faster? They are. I'm going to show you on the screen like some of the speeds here, there, elsewhere, whatever. And I'm going to give you an average. I'm going to put an average right down here. My average used to be about 7 to 10 megabits up. All right. That's for months and months and months. For like the last 6 months, 7 to 10 megabits up. And let's call it 100 megabits down. Right? That 7 to 10 megabits that we were getting before is now increased to 11, 12, 15. I actually saw one, I believe, over 20 megabits up. That is an outlier. But still, it has increased by 2 to 3 to 5 megabits up. That is phenomenal. That is excellent. That is fantastic. But here's the big but. when we do the testing, we still see that throttle banging off the top speed and then slowly inching back down. Once again, what do I mean by that? I mean when you do a test and you see, bang, 35 megabits up, and then it goes 25, 20, 18, 17, 12, 9. And that's where it finalizes at. That is classic throttling. This means that that thing can definitely handle 35 without a problem, but it doesn't. Why? Because it's throttled. I remember when I used to tell you guys this way back when, I used to get so much for it. People are like, it's not throttled, it's unlimited, he's not throttling it, this and that. I'm like, can you not see it being throttled? I don't know why you can't see it. Now, obviously, I am a system administrator. I used to work in a NOC, in a network operations center, on a Linux or a Unix machine. I used to do Cisco routers, all kinds of other stuff. Okay, so I get a little bit of a background, so I get it. But I'm telling you, when you look at your speeds and you see them just pop to some crazy speed and then slowly inch down, throttling. Okay, it's throttling. Now, there's different ways to do throttling. You can do it by inserting latency. There's a host of different ways to do throttling, but it's obviously throttling. Period. End of story. Now, everyone's going to get different speeds, and there's a lot of variables when it comes to speeds. Now, remember, you have the distance from your dishy, or as I call him, Mr. Bevel, to the nearest satellite. These satellites are coming around at 17,000 miles per hour, and they're handshaking between your dish and the next one as they're coming by. So this is going to add latency. And the more that there's up there, what? You're going to have less latency because there'll be a closer one more often, let's say. Also, you need to look at your local congestion, right? Who is using Starlink in your area? Do you have a lot of people? Do you have a few people? Where do you live? That makes a big difference. Also, the congestion terrestrially. On the ground, those ground stations, in my opinion, like I said before, are introducing a ton of latency. Okay? Because they can't handle all of the traffic. That's my personal opinion. I could be wrong. But I think a lot of it has to do with ground stations. So ground station traffic or congestion. Also, you need to worry about your POP. Which POP you're using and how far away is your POP? And is your POP congested? What is a POP? It's a point of presence. For me, my POP is in Atlanta, Georgia, even though there's a POP closer to me. Starlink, why do you do it? You do it to me, and it makes me mad. Anyways, hopefully your POP or your point of presence is closer to you than mine. Once again, mine is like 500-600 miles away. That produces a lot of latency. Why? Because it's so damn far away. It doesn't need to be. There is closer POPs. Why they do it, I don't know. Chances are it has to do with build out and who is on it, how many people and how much load it can handle and so on and so forth. Anyways, as they add more and more POPs or point of presence, or I call them NOCs or network operations centers, specifically for Starlink, as they add more closer and closer to all of us, because there will be more, it will also reduce latency, which will be another positive. So in the end, is there throttling still going on? Yes. Do I think that there is no throttling going on with download? Yes. Let's call it soft throttling. I have a feeling that they'll probably still do throttling, or they are doing throttling during peak hours. Possibly. Maybe due to congestion, who knows? But what I'm seeing as of right now in my location in Palm Beach, Florida, I'm not seeing any throttling on the down speed. It is wide open. What it can do is what it can do. All right? Conversely, upload, I do not see that. I still see the throttling, but it just feels lighter. All right? Just slightly lighter. Not so strict to that 10 megabits. It's loosening up just a little. So that's the way I see it. Now, when we do see the version 2 minis in operational orbit and they're working and they're up to snuff, so to speak, they have the capacity of 4x over the old system. So 4 times the capacity. What does this mean? 4 times faster? No, it doesn't. This means that you will get your maximum speed, and you'll most likely not have that maximum speed reduced due to congestion. Why? Because it can handle 4 times the amount of connections, 4 times the amount of users. So right now there's about 1 million of us Starlink users. They can handle about 4 million, right around there without any problem. And as they introduce more and more of these version 2 minis and the Big Daddy version 2s, once again, the congestion will become less and less and less. They'll be able to service more and more people. We're going to see lower latency. We're going to see probably faster speeds, and the speeds will be more consistent, and there'll be less dropouts. Why? Because there's more. That's just simply it. So what I want to ask you guys is, I'm giving you my information. What's more important is your information. This channel is all about community. Period. End of story. I'm going to put a poll, I believe, up. Take that poll, if it actually works. Sometimes YouTube makes it difficult for me to put a poll in there because it's like too many questions. And I think they only allow for 5 answers. Anyways, I'm going to try to do a poll. Take the poll off the main page, right? Number 1. And if it's not there, even better, in the comment area below this video, put your results. Once again, do at least 10 speed tests, please. 10. Get rid of the outliers. Get rid of the fastest, get rid of the slowest, and then do a mean. Do an average of what is left. And then put, what are you getting for up speed? What are you getting for down speed? And most importantly, is your down speed faster, slower, or the same? Is your upload speed faster, slower, or the same? And then finally, where are you located? That would be awesome, because then we'll get an idea of what is going on with not just me here in South Florida, but you, wherever you're located, in anywhere in the US or even abroad. A lot of people that are watching this channel are from Europe, from overseas. Put that information in there. I think that it is very valuable, because then we get an idea of what service you're getting. I have found a lot of people that have written into me through DMs or through email or through Twitter or wherever. The people that are overseas in Europe are actually getting faster speeds than we are in the US. I would never have known that. Thank you guys. Thank you for writing in. It's powerful information. We need to know this, and I want to be able to share it with you guys. Anyways, if you enjoyed this content, as I always say, throw it a thumbs up. That would be helpful. If you want to say thank you, there's a thank you button. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. That would really help the channel out a lot. And then click this little button over here so when I go live, when a new video comes out, you'll be notified of it immediately. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools I've invented for you and me over the years, and hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me and my family. That's it, guys. I'm out of here for yet another vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you in the next one. Love you all.